The absolute best part of The Walking Dead is the first couple episodes of the very first season, in which Rick wakes up and uncovers this post-apocalyptic world. He's surviving on his own. He's scavenging for food. There's not a lot of dialogue, but there's a lot of tension, just in pure animalistic survival. And I think that is what makes zombie movies, or more broadly, post-apocalyptic movies or television shows, just so entertaining. It's no coincidence then that the very first episode of The Last of Us was just so amazing, as we saw the world devolve in front of our very eyes. We saw loss and tragedy and heartache, and we were introduced to a new character, Ellie, who was basically seeing the world, at least somewhat, for the first time again. This time as someone outside of the danger, the protective zone, being out in danger, trying to figure out how best to survive with her new ally, Joel. So I like that premise of the show. The game itself takes a very radical turn because it's a video game, and that scavenging and hunting and fighting for survival doesn't let up, because that is the core mechanic. Sneaking through very complex areas with limited weapons, scavenging, hunting, doing things that make noise while you're looking around in a very tense environment. That's what makes up the game. Doesn't work so well in a TV show, though, and that's where I'm worried that The Last of Us episode number 4 is beginning to do more TV-isms and is really starting to veer away from the course of what the original game was all about. Which may turn out to be a good thing, by the way. We don't know yet. Episode 3, which I talked about late, just like this one. I know, unfortunately, I haven't been able to post these as fast as I want. Episode 3, of course, takes a radical deviation from the game, but it has such an emotional and rewarding payoff at the end that you kind of don't mind going on the ride. Here, I'm worried that the introduction of a new character, it may not be entirely fleshed out. And I'm getting a lot of I'm a villain because I have to be a villain vibes. Yes, the world is dangerous and scary. Yes, Joel and Ellie are going to have to deal with a lot of baddies. Sometimes they may be humans, sometimes they may not be. But I feel like a lot of times the I'm bad man because I'm bad doesn't really lend itself well, especially since we saw the writers are capable of so much more and elevating that content just like they did in the third episode. So as I'm watching episode 4 tonight and I'm looking through it and I'm like, okay, I don't recognize this character. This is interesting. This is a direct scene from the game. This is not. I'm like, okay, where is this going to go? And it kind of devolves almost into a subplot of a bad Walking Dead episode. Joel and Ellie stumble into a area of a quarantine zone that seemingly has been overrun by raiders or liberated by raiders, which could be a great moral quandary if they decide to investigate that in the next episode. We don't know yet, right? We haven't seen it. It could be a good episode. And it could be a good moral quandary, but it might not be. It might just kind of fizzle. And it might just be that Joel and Ellie stumbled into a group that sets up traps. In this case, a poor guy was like, oh, help me, limping. Meanwhile, there's a sniper up and there's a guy over here with grenades, and they're going to funnel you into a kill box, essentially, and take all your stuff. Which, yeah, that is a way to survive, I guess. Just, take from others, as we've seen Negan do in Walking Dead. But I hope there's more to it than that. And I hope that this group, whoever they are following this woman leader because, I think her name is Kathleen in the show. At least I think that's what the subtitle said. Maybe she was introduced formally, but I missed it. But I hope that she has a purpose other than just having to be a villain. The TV show could absolutely work if it was more of the first couple episodes of Walking Dead, as we continue to uncover the horrors of what happened, as we uncover areas that have been overrun, and all these small set pieces are put together that tell stories in of themselves, a lot like the way Skyrim did, where you go into a dungeon and it's a self-contained little instance that tells a story of something. And there might be little bits of dialogue here or there, but it's told mostly through the environment that gives you a sense of what happened and why. And if you have more of those horror, shocking element moments, it will make the human element that much stronger. When Joel and Ellie are hanging around and Ellie is reading from her pun book, or when Joel is teaching her how to properly hold a handgun, these moments would have much more impact if they were grounded against enemies and situations that were seemingly realistic but impossible to overcome. But I'm starting to struggle on this episode and reflecting on it, that maybe the show deviated just a bit too much from the content. There is some time to fix it. I'm not saying it's the worst show ever. And honestly, I really liked everything I have seen so far. But this episode definitely does not come as a surprise to me that it's the weakest of the 4 episodes we have seen so far. And I think, as many other critics, I would say it's largely because of missing the point of that human element and missing kind of the point of the source material. We'll have to see what episode 5 brings for us. And I know it's coming early and I'm excited. And once again, I'm going to be gone. So you have to wait yet another day late for me to kind of give you guys my thoughts on it. But I wanted to do a video to continue this series and continue exploring and challenging thoughts that you may have on this show. With that, I will wrap up this video. I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.